Hi, my name is Aruna Shekhar, and I've got with me Sam McGeorge, who's the CEO of Vigilance, a startup at the E-Center at Massey University. And I'm just going to ask a few questions, Sam, about your startup company, what the product and services that you offer.
So Vigilance is a transaction monitoring system primarily to stop fraud, either internal fraud within an organisation or external fraud from email scams. And more recently we've rolled another product out on top of that from transaction monitoring as well, which is for anti-money laundering.
Great. And what is the key benefit to your customers and clients?
So the key benefit is that we plug a gaping hole in the payment approval process. Just before money goes to the bank, the information could be altered. So we ensure that the information that goes to the bank is actually going to the right party. So the bank instruction from the accounting and payroll systems, which are all siloed from each other in the banking platform, they don't communicate in a timely manner. We look across all of them. We run algorithms to make sure that that party's been seen before, they've been paid, what their history is, and if the payment should be going to that party.
Nice. So can you share an experience where you have actually saved a lot of money from going the wrong direction?
Quite early on, we saved one company from a single transaction of 98,000, which was an external fraud, and that was some time ago. Now the frauds are far more sophisticated, but what we do is we call it the moment of truth, where that instruction to the bank going from Vigilance first means that the information is correct.
Fantastic. Now, would you be able to share with us some methods that you found successful in acquiring new clients and customers?
Well, every business is different, and everybody talks about scale, but as an early stage business, and we wouldn't call ourselves a startup anymore, we're mature, we've got a product in the market with post-revenue, so we're an early stage business. Frankly, we're still learning who our customers are. We've moved from what we thought was the issue we have is anybody could use our product as in business. In fact, they should. Fraud is underreported. It's not top of mind until you experience it. Then you experience the fallout, and insurance doesn't protect you from the reputational damage that you can suffer. So while anybody potentially in business is our customer, what we're still learning is who is our sweet spot. And as we've moved through and enhanced the product, listening to customers carefully and looking at other things that we can add value in the process within the software, we're growing into enterprise customers. So while we're still learning who our customer is, what we're learning is we're adding more value, we're fixing a real problem, and that problem is valued more by larger organisations than small organisations.
So have you found methods like personas, or have you found different personas? You've got such a variety of customers that...
Yeah, we do look at personas. So when we started out, we realised that we were spending a lot of time educating businesses why they need our product, the damage fraud can do, how prevalent it is, and how exposed they actually are. But we decided to start seeking out customers that were already educated. So by that very nature, they were companies that had permanent CFOs, accounts payable management, bigger staff in the accounts payable, and they had better structure and governance. And governance is an important one, because when you've got a board that's structured, they understand that they need to understand your risk appetite, understand what parts of their business they need to focus on, and this is an area that's exposed. Certainly, CFOs are familiar with the issue, so they're educated. So that's how we sort of reached into larger organisations, and now we've even got a couple of listed companies that use the software.
Great. So would you be able to give a sample for the people to trial it first and then see if it fits their company?
Yeah, so it's another thing we changed. It's better just to put it in. One of the great things about Vigilance is you don't have to integrate with other software. We're completely standalone. It's very attractive. The change in your workflow process is minimal, so there's a lot of boxes we tick around mitigating a lot of the onboarding process, which a lot of other software doesn't have the luxury of, or products generally. So that means that we can implement quite quickly. Although when we roll into bigger organisations, they are more risk averse around cybersecurity.
Right.
How do we trust you? Where's our data stored? All those questions. So one of the largest companies we've brought on recently they wanted the product in 6 months ago. We're only implementing now. We had 6 months of due diligence around very robust cybersecurity. Where's our data stored? What's our position on GDPR? A host of stuff.
Right.
And we met all that compliance because in the early days we focused on the fact that we're handling other people's financial data.
Yeah.
There's going to be security and concerns around that.
Yeah.
What are we going to do to protect that? So we went out and got some standards with PCI DSS compliant. So it's a financial term for making sure that we're compliant around how we handle credit card numbers. And because we integrate to banks, that put us through quite a bit of rigour as well, because they have high standards.
Yeah.
So that set us really well apart from others in the market, albeit nobody really does what we do.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your company is offering some unique benefits, and so what opportunities of growth do you see in the future?
The growth significant is around, so the first product we developed, the fraud protection system, that is a fintech product, a financial technology product. And of course financial technology products are sort of globally attractive. People like investing in them. There's growth opportunities for them. But the second product that we're building on, the technology we've already built for the fraud, which is around transaction monitoring, that's been brought in from, that's meeting a legislation issue.
Right.
So that's now RegTech. And the significant difference is we have to convince businesses usually, first make them aware that we exist, or convince them that there's a value proposition for the fraud product.
Right.
And it's not hard to demonstrate that, but then it's making sure it's a priority and they want to implement it.
Yeah.
The anti-money laundering module is completely different. That is regulation, that's legislation. You have to demonstrate you've got robust processes in place and you've got some way of reporting to meet the legislation.
Right.
So what I like about RegTech is the government is driving, they're a sales team. They're going out and telling industry they have to comply, this is what you need. And so that's what we're doing there.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great opportunity to
It
address.
is,
Yeah.
And it's global. We've got a global vision.
Yeah.
We've very closely aligned with open banking technology. So as I said before, we integrate to some banks. As banks advance their own APIs and provide tools for fintech businesses like ours, we can enhance more features and functionality. So we work with banks closely about, in fact, driving that change, which is great.
Fantastic. Just a couple of last questions. Is how long have you been in operation doing this?
Vigilance has been in market 3 years.
3 years. And approximately how many employees?
6 full-time people.
Yeah, that's great. And you've achieved quite a bit in the last 3 years.
Yeah, you never achieve what you want to, but it's about hard work.
Yeah.
And I've had a previous software company that was successful. My view is there's a lot of hard work and focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
No worries.